Hi there, and welcome to RBS Innovation Bites. After the initial introduction to the video series, now this is our very first bite of innovation. And this time we are going to cover the topic of image generation using artificial intelligence. And we are going to focus on one specific tool that is called Flux. But let's start the discussion with actually Adobe Firefly if this is the first time that you are exploring the topic. So the possibility to create images, artistic, realistic images, just starting with one text prompt. Well, your very first touch base, the one that is accessible to all and that is very effective, we can say, is definitely Adobe Firefly. It's a tool that is part of the Adobe portfolio of solutions. It's free. So even for free, you can experiment with many features. You can generate realistic photos, you can generate artistic images, you can select different filters, different formats, you can experiment a lot. And of course, there is the possibility to pay and upgrade to a paid tier. In that case, you're going to be free to remove the watermark, so that the image is really free to use in a variety of domains. And why you should experiment? First of all, because you can create any kind of potential image to populate your website, your social media, your presentations. They can be functional to express your message, to support your communication. And by experimenting, you can get familiar, we can say, with what is the process of describing an image and generate an output that satisfies you. But today, I want to go beyond the Adobe Firefly tool. Actually, there are so many tools out there that are popping out from the market, but I want to focus on one that is emerging as a game changer. It's FLUX.1. So, FLUX.1 is created by Black Forest Labs, and it's one of the most relevant open source generative AI text to image models. It is released in three variants. You have a pro variant that is more dedicated to professionals and for commercial use, very high quality of the output images. There is a dev version that allows you to create quality images, but not for commercial use. So it's more dedicated for personal experimentation and content creation. And there is also the version called Schnell, which is faster, but the quality is lower. It can be used for, we can say, personal creativity, but of course, it's a compromise because of the lack of the payment, actually. But Flux is a very interesting model that is using a slightly different kind of techniques of generation that is not the traditional diffusion model. It is also able to render in very realistic and good quality way text, so writings, words, which is a pain point for many of text to image artificial intelligence models. It is also useful to create content that is very adherent to the initial prompt. So, good quality, prompt adherence, and also text rendering makes Flux a very interesting tool to use and experiment with. Well, to really start using Flux is not necessarily easy as it is Adobe Firefly. There are some additional steps that I want to simplify for you and share with you. First, try to experiment with Flux accessing one of the many platforms that provides you the computational power, we can say, for the inference, so to generate the final content. One of these platforms is actually FAL, and FAL can be accessed using a specific link, and I'm going to share with you. But before going to FAL, I suggest you to register you and create a profile on GitHub. GitHub is a code repository. It's used by developers all around the world, not only to store the code in the cloud, for example, but also to create software projects that are collaborative, so open to the contributions to people from everywhere. And you can access GitHub scanning the QR code that you have in this slide. Why you need to use GitHub? Because GitHub is used as a profile to log in FAL. So this is the preliminary step. This is your first step to use Flux. Then you can move here. You can still, once again, scan the QR code, and then you can move to this page. This is one of the many pages of the FAL platform. You can find many models, you can find many resources in the platform of FAL, many tires, also paid tires. But if you scan this, you move directly to the web page dedicated to the so-called training of Flux. What does this mean? That once you are here, you can select one specific kind of, we can say, subject object, like a photo of a person, a photo of an object, a photo of an animal, of any kind of element that is relevant to you. And you should make different photos from different perspectives and points of view of the same object subject, because you are going to use these images to train the Flux model to recognize and create, we can say, a model around your image, around your subject. Starting from that, you will be able to create any kind of variant, like reimagine your object and subject in any different way, but maintaining, keeping the coherence of the initial object. Let me explain it better. What you see here is the possibility, as you can see, to pick a zip file. Imagine to have several images of the same subject and you zip everything. You can upload it exactly from here, or you can add the images, the different variants manually, minimum 4. The more we can say, the better, because you are just offering different, more perspective and a more complete understanding of the subject by the model. Well, you need to sign with the GitHub profile. And at the very beginning, to use the power of the FAL platform, you need to recharge with, I would say, between 5 and 10 euros dollars. So it is paid as a service, but it is worth if you want to have the control and the coherence of your subject in your images. This can be useful, for example, if you want to create alternatives of a product of an e-commerce. This can be useful if you want to create different, we can say, self-branded images of yourself. This can be useful if you want to really reimagine a specific subject without the need to make realistic photos of that subject in the real world. Let's move on. And well, while traveling these days in a hotel, I found this painting, and I decided to use this to make the train of Flux. I made this photo, but not only this, I made the same, I photographed the same subject from different perspectives. And all of these perspectives, I uploaded them in the website of Flux, and then I just clicked on start training. So the system starts analyzing the image, and after a couple of minutes, up to 5 minutes, you will find out this result. You can see training history. This is my training. It took 2 minutes more or less. No, it was 2 minutes ago, but actually it took more or less 5 minutes. And you have here the completed version of the training session. Starting from that moment, you will find this kind of interface. This kind of interface will allow you to do this. Just write down the prompt about, in this case, about the painting, but about your subject, and click on Run. This is the traditional way of creating images starting from a text prompt. There is a window, you write down the text prompt, the description of what you want to create, then you click it, and in a couple of seconds or minutes, you generate the image. But the difference is that in this case, the initial image, your initial subject is always a reference point. Let's make an example. These are synthetic images. They have been created by the AI model, by Flux. And as you can see, I changed we can say, the aspect ratio. I changed the lightning because in that case it was evening. Here is, we can say, more or less daylight. We can neons. So these are images that are keeping the coherence of the initial subject, but they are just reimagining the subject in different situations. Think about the possibilities that you have in this case. If you want, you can scan this QR code and move straight to the page of file dedicated to Flux, so without training. This is the traditional way of creating images. You write down the prompt, you click on run, and then you generate the final image that can be downloaded and used for whatever you want to use. So we explored Adobe Firefly as a tool that everybody of you can use for free, and it offers so many, we can say, potentialities. Then we checked and we explored the possibilities of training images with Flux, and we ended with directly Flux interface to text to image generation. I hope you're going to test it. I hope you're going to enjoy, and I hope this is going to be useful for you to create images that you can use in your daily activity. So, thanks a lot for being part of this second Innovation Bites of the Rome Business School, and see you the next time.